Hello, and welcome to Session 1 of Increasing Self-Esteem. My name is Katie, and I will be guiding you through Session 1 of the Increasing Self-Esteem CBT course. This online course has been adapted from the Increasing Self-Esteem course developed by the Wellbeing services based in the south of Glasgow. The overall aims of the Increasing Self-Esteem course are to help us understand low self-esteem, to explore what keeps low self-esteem going, and to find ways of improving self-esteem. Each week we will cover different aspects related to low self-esteem. In this session, Session 1, we cover understanding low self-esteem. Session 2 covers changing negative thinking. Session 3 will explore changing self-defeating behaviours. Session 4 addresses being assertive in our communication with others. Session 5 focuses on acknowledging positive qualities. Finally, in Session 6, we will discuss how to maintain healthy self-esteem. When using self-help materials, it might be tempting to skip sections or to complete things in a different order. The modules in the course are designed to be completed in the order in which they appear. We recommend that you work through each module in sequence, finishing one before moving on to the next. There are no time limits on completing the course. You are encouraged to take them at your own pace. As a guide, one module per week might be a good starting point. We believe that this structure will help you get the most from these materials, but find what works for you. In today's session, we aim to help you understand what low self-esteem is and what can keep it going. Firstly, let us think about what we mean when we talk about self-esteem. Self-esteem is the overall opinion we have of ourselves, and our opinion can be based on lots of things. For example, our self-image and appearance, our role in areas such as our job, our family, as a parent, a brother, sister, wife, or a husband. Our self-esteem can also be based on personal qualities and things that we feel confident about or lack confidence in doing. A large part of self-esteem can also be based on what we believe others think of us. So what do we mean when we say someone has low self-esteem? People with low self-esteem tend to have a low opinion of themselves and the type of person they are. They are often overly critical of themselves, their actions and their abilities. They will tend to put themselves down, think they are not as good as other people, be full of self-doubt, and have difficulty speaking up for themselves. It is normal to experience self-doubt at certain times. For example, meeting new people, going for a job interview, or finding out you are not successful at a job interview. However, self-doubt can be problematic if you feel this way all the time and in lots of different situations, and particularly if it causes you to avoid challenges and opportunities. Low self-esteem is often kept going by a vicious circle. This means we can have negative thoughts which impact on how we feel, both physically and emotionally. This can lead to self-defeating behaviours, in turn reinforcing low self-esteem, leading to more negative thoughts and so forth. The vicious circle is how we understand low self-esteem using cognitive behaviour therapy. It allows us to understand how negative thinking and self-defeating behaviours can keep low self-esteem going. Here is an example to help illustrate a vicious circle. Imagine you are introduced to someone new at your friend's house. You have a negative thought. I don't know what to say to them. They'll think I'm boring. Or if they don't like me. This makes you feel anxious, and when you feel anxious, your heart starts beating faster. And your face might feel a bit flushed. To avoid the new person seeing you looking anxious, you walk away from them and do not say anything, keeping to yourself. We call this a self-defeating behaviour. It might seem helpful at first to walk away and get rid of some of those uncomfortable feelings of anxiety, However, you miss out on the opportunity of meeting someone new and do not give yourself the chance to see if it went okay. Therefore, in essence, your anxious predictions go untested. But by walking away, you end up having more negative thoughts. I knew it. I can't even make small talk. I'm boring. I should just go home. As you can see, the vicious circle continues, and it is common for feelings of anxiety to be replaced with feeling of sadness or depressed mood. The vicious circle is made up of our thoughts, feelings, physical state, meaning what we feel in our body, and behaviours. When you look at these thoughts, notice how they might make you feel and ask yourself what impact these thoughts would have on your self-esteem. It is all my fault. I've got nothing interesting to say. Anyone could do that. I am useless. Low self-esteem also affects your feelings. Here are some typical feelings that you might experience due to low self-esteem. Sadness, irritability or anger, anxious or nervous, guilt, shame, insecure. Low self-esteem can also impact on our physical state and how we feel in our body. It is common to feel the following physical sensations, amongst others: muscle tension, sleep problems. This can include sleeping too much or difficulty getting to sleep, tiredness and fatigue, heart racing, palpitations. You might blush or shake in certain situations. And lastly, low self-esteem can also impact on our behaviour, what we do, how we act in situations. Do you recognise any of these? Not looking after yourself, e.g. poor diet or neglecting your appearance, difficulty being assertive and speaking out or expressing your own needs. You might avoid challenges and opportunities for fear of a negative outcome. When talking to people, you might feel uncomfortable and avoid eye contact. You could be a perfectionist and spend a lot of time working hard to get things to be the best. You might become withdrawn, stop socialising and meeting up with friends or taking part in hobbies that once brought you joy. Let's take some time to think about the causes of low self-esteem. Nobody is born with low self-esteem. It develops as a result of the experiences we have throughout our lives. There are many factors which can contribute to low self-esteem. We are all individuals with different life experiences and factors that make us who we are. Not everyone will develop low self-esteem in relation to the issues we have listed. However, we know from research that certain life events can make a person more vulnerable to developing low self-esteem. These can be events that occur in our childhood as well as our adulthood. Adverse experiences in childhood that can contribute to low self-esteem include difficult events such as neglect, abuse, bullying and bereavements, being criticised a lot by others, not doing well at school or sports, lack of affection or praise, feeling like the odd one out or that we do not fit in, belonging to a family or social group that is subject to prejudice, being on the receiving end of other people's stress. Low self-esteem can also develop later in life. Even confident people with a previous positive self-view can feel put down by things that happen later in life. Abusive relationships, bullying at work, long-term hardships or traumatic life events can all have an impact on your confidence and sense of self-worth. For some people, you may look at these situations and think, none of these apply to me. And that may be the case, as sometimes there is no single identifiable cause of why we develop low self-esteem. Sometimes we find that it may not be the presence of negative experiences, but the absence of positive experiences in terms of not receiving enough attention, praise or warmth. However, do not worry if this is the case, as you can still apply the strategies suggested in this course to effectively help increase your self-esteem. The focus of cognitive behavioural therapy is on the here and now as opposed to past events. Negative beliefs are the conclusions you come to have about yourself based on negative experiences in childhood or adulthood. These beliefs give us a conclusion about who we are as a person. Negative beliefs are understandable. There was a time they made sense given what was going on in your life. At the core of low self-esteem lie your bottom line beliefs about yourself. You may think of these beliefs as facts, reflections of the truth about you based on your experiences. With low self-esteem, these beliefs are often very self-critical and negatively biased. You may often sum yourself up in a single sentence, beginning with the words, I am. Negative bottom line beliefs can be one of the foundation of low self-esteem, depression and anxiety. With low self-esteem, I am is usually followed by a negative statement such as I am useless or I am not good enough. This is what we call the bottom line belief. But beliefs are opinions rather than facts. It is important to remember that these opinions can be inaccurate and or outdated, as they are often based on little evidence. Everyone has bottom line beliefs. These can be positive or negative, realistic or unrealistic. When you accept these beliefs as facts about yourself, it is not surprising to feel bad and experience strong negative emotions associated with low self-esteem, such as depression and anxiety. Here are some examples of very negative bottom line beliefs. I am not good enough. I am stupid. I am weak. I am bad. I am ugly. I am a failure. I am worthless. I am not important. Such negative beliefs are usually deeply ingrained and firmly held. They are broad, global statements serving as an evaluation of our worth and value as a person. Bad experiences can lead to low self-esteem if we see them as signs of personal failure or reflections of our own worth, rather than unfortunate events that could happen to anyone. Bottom line beliefs are like magnets. They attract evidence that confirm them, and the more evidence they get, the stronger they become. However, these beliefs are self-perpetuating because they repel any evidence that might contradict or disconfirm them. So, negative beliefs can be thought of like a negative bias we unconsciously hold against ourselves. We only pay attention to information that might confirm it and ignore or dismiss evidence that could disconfirm it. It is key to remember that bottom line beliefs are opinions, not facts, and are often inaccurate and outdated. Opinions can change over time with new knowledge and a new perspective. When we continue to experience low self-esteem in the present, even when our circumstances have changed, our past has resulted in us having negative bottom line beliefs. In this regard, they are quite powerful and can influence us in the following ways. How we see ourselves, for example, I am insignificant, I am ugly. How we feel, I feel miserable. How we behave, leading to self-defeating behaviours, I will just stay in bed today. When we believe these negative statements, it is not surprising that we feel bad about ourselves. But as humans, we all come readily equipped with a protective survival instinct that tries to shield us from discomfort. To protect ourselves and ensure we keep on functioning and coping, we begin to develop rules and assumptions for how we live our lives. After all, we still have to get on with life. These rules for living aim to guard and defend us from the assumed truth of our negative core beliefs. and they directly guide our behaviour. They are developed to help deal with bottom line beliefs. The rules for living will help you feel reasonably comfortable with yourself as long as you obey them. We might not always be aware of these rules or be able to put them into words. However, we can usually work out what our rules are by observing how we behave in certain situations. Let us explore these rules a bit further. An easy way to start working out what your rules might be is to think about the two main themes that the rules tend to fit into. These are people pleaser and high achiever. You might identify more with one than the other, or you might find that you tend to be a mix of both depending on the situation. To help bring this all together, now let us look at some bottom line beliefs and the rule for living that would correspond to it. The belief that I am unlovable could lead to developing the rule, if I do everything that others expect of me, then I will not be rejected. The belief that I am stupid could lead to the rule, if I don't try, then I can't fail, or if someone criticises me, then it means I am a failure. At other times, we try to overcompensate for our perceived negative view of ourselves. Therefore, the bottom line belief, I'm not good enough, could lead to the rule, if I work really hard and do things perfectly, then I can't be completely useless. The belief I am weak could lead to the rule, I mustn't show that I'm struggling or show emotion or people will think I'm weak. When identifying your rules and assumptions, you can ask yourself the following questions. What do I expect of myself when I am at work or school? What standards do I expect to meet? What would I accept and not accept? What do I expect of myself when I am socialising? What do I expect of myself in my various roles, such as a child, friend, partner, staff member, or supervisor? Rules for living and assumptions can be in the form of statements such as I must, should, have to, always, or else, For example, I must always be the best at everything. I must, should, never, For example, I must never show any weakness or back away from a challenge. I should never ask for something that I need. If, then, For example, if I let people know the real me, they will think I'm a total loser. If I ask someone out, I will look like I'm desperate for a partner. If I don't, then, For example, if I don't work as hard as I possibly can, then I will not gain recognition from my boss. Or if I don't do whatever it takes to stay slim, I will never have any friends. It can be useful to look at the rules in a bit more detail and ask, are they helpful or unhelpful? They can be helpful when they are flexible and take account of changes in circumstances. For example, pleasing some of the people some of the time. Helping others when you can. Trying your best even if you do not succeed. Rules are also helpful when they help you take a more overall and balanced view of your skills and attributes. However, rules can be unhelpful when you apply them very rigidly, when there are no shades of grey. For example, you might think to yourself, I must always, or I should always. Rules are also unhelpful when they are dependent on things which are impossible to achieve or out with your control. For example, always being attractive, rich, young, fit and healthy, have a partner, a job, or be loved by everyone. In the short term, it may seem better to avoid trying things for fear of failure. So a rule such as, if I do not try, I can't fail. This may seem helpful as you will avoid situations which may lead to a failure. However, This serves to keep the bottom line belief of I am a failure in place, as you never find out that you can achieve or get to build your resilience in dealing with failures. We all must do this at times in our lives, which ultimately makes us stronger. Also, doing what others want all the time and being afraid to say no means you never realise that true friends would still like you, even if you cannot always agree with them or help them out. Rigid rules can add to the vicious circle that keeps low self-esteem going. In summary, rules can protect our self-esteem if we can abide by them, always. But life is not as black and white, and we will undoubtedly encounter situations where our rules are threatened or broken. Remember the vicious cycle we talked about earlier? Following unhelpful rules adds to the vicious circle that keeps low self-esteem going. In this example, we have someone who has a bottom line belief that they are unacceptable. Therefore, they have decided it is best not to ask a girl out. They are predicting that others will find them boring and will not like them. As you can see, the rule, don't risk asking girls out, is keeping the bottom line belief that I am unacceptable in place. The key things to remember here is that our bottom line beliefs contribute to our negative thoughts and predictions, and our rules for living usually lead to self-defeating behaviours. To summarise, low self-esteem is an understandable reaction to past experiences. It often stems from childhood, but can also develop during adulthood. When we have low self-esteem, our beliefs about ourselves can be extremely negative. However, it is important to remember that negative bottom-line beliefs are opinions, not facts, are often false and outdated, and therefore can be changed. We are almost coming to the end of session 1, so let us summarise what we have covered today. Low self-esteem is when we have a chronic negative view of ourselves. This can affect us in several ways, such as the way we think, the way we feel, our physical state, our relationships, and the things that we do or do not do. So how do we start to increase our self-esteem? One of the first steps can be to recognise what keeps low self-esteem going and what is happening in the here and now. Once we know this, we can start to identify and change patterns of negative thinking. We can then start to change self-defeating behaviours such as avoidance. We can develop practical assertiveness skills in our communication with others. Finally, we can learn to adapt our negative beliefs by acknowledging our strengths and building on positive qualities. To help recognise what keeps low self-esteem going and what is happening in the here and now, we suggest you keep a note of the times when you are being self-critical. This is often more noticeable at times when you will have feelings of anxiety or low mood. Take a note of the situation, where you are, what you're doing, what was going on around you. Take a note of how you feel emotionally and pay attention to your thoughts, such as what you are saying to yourself or images coming to mind. How do you behave? How do you react or cope with the situation? What do you notice in how your body reacts? You can use the headings from the vicious cycle to help with this. After writing the situation at the top, take note of thoughts, feelings, body state, and behaviours. Over the next 2 sessions, we'll be looking at this vicious cycle in more detail. Thank you for completing session 1 of Increasing Low Self-Esteem. We hope you have found this session helpful. Session 2 is next, and in this we will discuss how to identify and challenge unhelpful negative thinking.